Hello there, Vanessa Webb, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Australia here. I have some exciting new things to show you today. Our catalogue, our new mini January to June Stampin' Up! Mini catalogue has launched in the last day. So I can now show you the inside of the catalogue. In fact, you'll see what I'm about to play with on the front there. It's the new Gilded leafing embellishments, which are so much fun to play with, and I've only just begun to discover how cool this stuff is. And yeah, it comes from a new suite called Fine Art Floral, and you can see the pictures there of a stamp set, a set of dies. There's the gold leafing. You've got some gorgeous designer series papers, as well as some gold ribbon. There's even some window sheets, some foil window sheets. And you've got some heat and stick powder, which you need to actually use with your gold leafing. So I'm going to be demonstrating that today. We're going to be gold leafing some of these gorgeous papers. You really don't have to do too much to these papers, but I thought it would be fun to add some of the gold leafing to them just to show you how it works. And yeah, it really is quite fun and quite simple to use once you know how. Alrighty, so I am going to make this card here. Let me just hold it up into the light so that you can see. If I tilt it like that, you can actually see the gold leafing on the designer series paper. Now this paper was actually hand painted using like gesso or really thick oil paint. And yeah, that you can actually see the brush strokes, it's just gorgeous. So what they did was they got some artists to design the artworks, and then they photographed the artworks to produce the paper. So it is as real to, as close to the real thing as you can get, and it really is quite gorgeous. So what I've done is I've added some of the gold leafing just to the designer series paper. I haven't done any stamping of flowers. The only stamping I've done on this card, I've actually stamped some Versamark, and I'll show you that in a second, to apply the heat and stick powder. But the only stamping, coloured stamping, classic ink stamping I've done is for the greeting. So let me show you how I did it. I'm going to move these things out of the way. Here's some of that gorgeous paper. This is actually my favourite design in the whole pack. Love it. And the whole suite is just gorgeous. The art gallery stamps and the floral gallery dies. You'll see there is actually some words in there, which you can mix and match with the greetings. So the words, just try and get them out without, there we go. This one says, just wanted to say, or just want to say. So you can actually mix and match it with a number of these greetings. I'm not going to do that today, but I just wanted to show you what was there. There's a couple of little word windows, and I'm going to use the larger word window. So I'm going to pop these to the side. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually stamp. I'll bring this back in so that you can see which stamps I'm using. I'm actually going to use the highlight stamps. So when you're two-stepping with these, you can use a lighter colour and a darker colour over the top. I'm actually only using this one, like the shadowy stamp, and also this one, and I'm going to try and match it with some of the flowers in the papers. So I'm using Versamark, which is a clear ink, and I've got my heat and stick powder in the tray. So what I'm going to do first of all is just ink up my big one, and you actually may not need to stamp the whole thing, so I'm just going to stamp it on the bottom there, and I might just do a bit of gold leafing there. Anywhere you want the gold leafing to sort of show up is where you actually want to stamp your images. And I'm just going to stamp a couple just in the bottom there. So about 5 images. Then I'll bring in my heat and stick powder. So there's my 2 stamps. My heat and stick powder is actually just inside the tray here, and I'm just going to shake that all over. So you remember this is not embossing powder. It's actually very different. It turns sticky like glue when you melt it. Okay, so it's got a very different very different properties to it. I don't know if you can see it there. You can see it sort of sticking. See how I've managed to just capture some of the shapes, the similar shapes. The good thing about this is that you don't have to be too exact. So don't worry if you haven't lined them up perfectly. It will still look awesome and you'll still get that amazing gold leafing effect when you apply it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat this up, and it will go a little bit sticky like a glue, as I said, and then we're going to apply the gold leaf. So here we go. You guys will be able to see this go a little bit wet and shiny. You want to melt it all first. And sort of tilt it and see where you put it. And then I go over it once again just to make sure it's still nice and wet and tacky for the gold leafing to go on there. So just get another squirt all over like that. Beautiful. And now my gold leafing. Now, some people have suggested that you may actually want to put this into a larger container. I haven't had too many problems yet, so let me just sprinkle some on. I just use my fingers, just get some on there, and then I just kind of cover over the whole thing like this. It looks a little bit messy just as you're starting out, but the idea is that you want it to stick to the bits that you have applied the heat and stick powder to. I'm just going to scrape some of this off here. And I'm going to show you how I actually get the gold leafing off. It's all floating everywhere. It's just so gorgeous. I love it. I'm just going to brush most of it off like this. But then you're going to get one of our new blending brushes, which actually come in a pack of 3. Alrighty, so this is another use for your blending brush. I'm actually going to keep one of my brushes just for this purpose. The bristles are really, really fine and smooth and soft. So what I'm going to do is just pop most of this back in there. Got a little bit of static on my fingers, which is not helping. That's it. All right. So what I'm going to do is just pop the lid back on so I don't have an accident. And then we're going to get the fine blending brush and just kind of rub where the gold leafing is. So it's just really nice and gentle. It won't scrape the gold leafing off where the heat and stick powder is. It will just scrape the bits off that may still be attached, but you can see how gentle that is, and it actually leaves, you can get rid of all the other bits and flecks and stuff. You can see how a tray would be great, but can you see how this has just been really, really delicate and just gotten those extra bits off and left the gold leafing where I've stamped. Can you see that? It's just beautiful. So these brushes are so handy. So I'm going to actually pop this. Whoops, but not sneeze. I'm breathing all over it. Can you see it going everywhere? I love it. It's like glitter, right? If you love glitter, you won't mind this. But those of you who have trouble using glitter because it just gets everywhere, you can see this stuff getting caught in floorboards and stuff like that, and you'll just catch a little glint out of the corner of your eye when you're sitting down to dinner and you think, what's that? Alrighty, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, love it. But there you go, there is a little tip for you. Using your brush, you can give it more of a polish as you go if there's still remnants there that are kind of staying off. But I find that this is a really, really gentle way just to get those extra bits off. And then you'll find your project is nice and smooth so that you can put more layers on, which was what I'm going to do right now. All right, I'm going to close my Versamark too because I don't want to get the gold leaf in there. Alrighty. The next new thing I wanted to share with you is my Baby Boss. This is the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and it is the cutest thing you have seen. It is so fantastic to have just on your craft table if you don't want to take up too much real estate. The plates are just the same as the ones that go through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but they're just a lot narrower and a lot smaller. So if you're only using little dies like these that are part of this this bundle, the floral gallery dies, and especially a tiny word window like that, you don't need to get your huge Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out. And I'm loving having this on my craft table because it's so easy to just bring in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp first, and I'm going to stamp the words I'm thinking of you. So they come from the art gallery stamp set, and I'll just stamp them right there like that, and that's in Pretty Peacock ink, which will bring out some of the lovely colours in these papers. I just love the grey background, but I love the splashes of colour like the peacock, the soft sky, and there's a pop of yellow and red as well. Love it, beautiful. Right, so there's my greeting, and I'm going to pop this on the base plate. I like to have my dies so that they're going lengthways through my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So these are now available, so you can get these in my online store. Just search mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and look at that, I've got a little bit of gold leaf right there. I'm going to find this stuff everywhere. I just love it. Right, so running it through, so awesome. Love it. Such a nice smooth action too. And there is my greeting ready to go on. Alrighty, let me just pop this out of the way. Too easy. And I'm going to also layer together another punch that's from the large catalogue. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a really, really cool punch. It's a really nice shape, but I just wanted to make it a little bit narrow, and I'll show you how I did that. I just punched it out of some Pretty Peacock, and then I grabbed my scissors like this, and then I popped a little bit of glue, just run a little tiny strip of glue down there, and I pushed these together like that so that they're slightly overlapped at the back. All right, and that just kind of squishes the shape down so that it's not covering too much of my beautiful paper. I just didn't want to cover any of that gold. So I just compacted a little bit the shape, and you can do that with your punches. You can cut them down and make them whatever size you want. So I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of glue on the back of my greeting, and then that covers over that join perfectly, so you don't even know that I've cut that punched shape in half. And then I popped some dimensionals on the back of that and applied it to my card. So here's my original card. You can see it's showing a slightly different part of the paper, but still just as beautiful. And you could do quite a few cards. There's minimal stamping on here, except for what you need to do just to do your gold highlights with your Versamark. So what you'll need is your heat and stick powder, your gilded leafing, your Versamark to stamp where you'd like the gilded leafing to go. I'd recommend getting your blending brushes. They'll be used for all sorts of other things too, but keep one of them for the gilding, the gold leafing, and you'll find that it's really easy to get off the excess gold. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this card. Don't forget, you can visit my store and see all of the new products. They are there in full colour with lots and lots of samples and inspiration for you. You can shop now from both the catalogues. When you shop for your products at the moment, you'll also be earning free celebration items. So don't forget to add those on. I have had some people say that they actually weren't prompted very clearly to add the celebration items on. So make sure when you spend your $90 that you add one of the level 1 celebration items. Or if you're spending $180 or more, you can add 2 of those level 1s, or even one of the level 2s. There's a bundle at the back, and there's another stamp set that is actually a level 2. When you spend $500, so either at a workshop or as a personal order, you'll also get a free stamp set called Punch Party, which goes with about 3 or 4 of our punches in our current catalogues. So that's a nice freebie for you. Yeah, so don't forget to order your celebration items together with your order. And also, if you haven't got a catalogue yet and you'd like one, let me know and I'll add you to the list if you're not there already. Those of my VIPs should have received all their catalogues already. So let me know if you haven't and I'll send one out to you. Thanks so much for watching, and I will be back with some more inspiration for you a little bit later on. Bye.